At brunch, I handed her a perfume she used to wear when she still called me baby, a bouquet from a local flower shop, and a handwritten letter I'd stayed up till 2 a.m. writing. By 3 p.m., all of it was stuffed in a black trash bag by the garage. So I left. Quietly. But I didn't go home. I did something else. And the next morning, she blew up my phone like a woman trying to stop a ticking bomb. This year, I let myself believe it might be different. Not perfect. Just soft. For once, maybe it was because she actually thanked me last month after I helped sort her taxes. And it sounded real, not like someone choking on politeness. Maybe because when I texted her to confirm brunch, she replied, with an old-school smiley face, colon and parenthesis. Like she used to text me in high school, before everything went to hell. So I leaned into the fantasy, bought her the same perfume she used when she used to hug me before school. Picked up flowers, not from Walmart, but from that overpriced boutique on 5th. And the letter, yeah, I wrote her a real one, by hand. 4 pages. I told her I knew it hadn't been easy raising me alone, that I loved her, even if sometimes it felt like she barely liked me anymore. I sealed it in a red envelope, thought maybe this brunch would be the start of something new. She had me at 17, just us for a while, messy but close. Then came Greg. She met him when I was 10. Married him at 11. My new stepdad, who talked like everything before him was a mistake. Then the baby came, my half-brother, Logan. And just like that, I went from my son to the kid from before. Greg called Logan our boy. Never once called me stepson. Not unless he was forced, but still I kept hoping. Because you don't just shut off that kind of love. So when I walked into her house that morning, arms full, my heart stupidly light, I thought, maybe, just maybe. She looked up from arranging napkins and said, "Oh, you made it." That was it. Not warm, not mean. Just like she forgot I existed until I showed up. I handed her the perfume. She blinked at it like it was a receipt for something she didn't remember buying. "Oh, you remembered this one," she said flat. No smile, no hug. Still, I smiled. "Yeah, they only had one left." She nodded. Didn't even smell it. Turned back to setting the table. My brother Logan was cracking jokes about dorm life like he was auditioning for Netflix. Everyone laughed. I sat down. No place card, no mimosa. So I poured myself juice. Like an adult. Greg asked how work was, then looked away before I answered. Mom didn't notice, or pretended not to. Mid-brunch, Logan looked straight at me and said, "So, you doing the long-distance Mother's Day thing now? Or is this just a charity visit?" Greg laughed. Mom sipped her mimosa. Didn't say a word. I smiled like I didn't want to launch my fork into the drywall. Didn't bring a coupon, but I brought a gift. Logan grinned. "What, another Venmo?" "Nope." I reached into my jacket. "This year, it's in writing." I placed the red envelope next to her plate, like it was sacred. She blinked at it like I'd dropped a subpoena. Logan snorted. "Bro wrote a love letter to Mom. That's messed up." I laughed. "Just a thank you." Then, silence. Someone passed the butter. I helped clean up after. Plates, napkins, dutiful son. But then I noticed the trash bags were already in the garage. Brunch wasn't even over. She'd always liked a clean house, but this was fast. I went outside. The garage door was half open. Sunlight lit up the bin. And there it was. The perfume box. Untouched. The flowers. Bent sideways. Crushed. The envelope, still sealed, wedged between a pizza box and what looked like eggshells. She dumped it all. I froze. It didn't feel like rage. Not yet. It felt like heat behind my eyes. I picked everything back up. The flowers. The perfume. The letter. Stood there in the garage holding them like evidence in a murder trial. Then I left. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't text. Didn't scream. I just took back my love before the trash truck did. That night, I lined the 3 things up on my kitchen counter. They looked smaller, sadder, like artifacts from a life I needed to bury. But I didn't toss them. Not yet. Instead, I made a decision. Something I knew would leave a deeper mark than yelling ever could, and by morning my phone lit up like Times Square. She called 8 times before 9 a.m. By noon, I had 16 missed calls, 5 voicemails, and a text from Greg that said, "Grow up," but I wasn't being immature, I was being precise. That night, after I got home and set the letter back on my counter, creased from being stuffed in garbage, I didn't drink, didn't cry, didn't rage post. I just stared at the envelope like it owed me an explanation. Then I opened my laptop. I logged into the utility accounts. Gas, water, electricity. See, for the past 2 years, I'd been quietly helping them stay afloat. Mom once called it, just until Greg's promotion kicks in. He got that promotion 14 months ago. Still, they let me keep paying, so I made the final payments for the month. Then I deleted my billing info, removed myself from autopay, shut off the drafts like flipping a switch in my chest. Next, I pulled up Logan's tuition portal. He'd asked for help with next semester. Said Mom was stretched thin. I had offered to cover it, scheduled the transfer for the 15th. I canceled it with one click. Then came the email. Subject line, Mother's Day body. Hey Mom, just a heads up. There was an envelope of cash inside the letter I gave you yesterday. It was meant to help cover Logan's tuition. I'm guessing you'll know what happened to it. Hope it didn't get lost. I hit send, closed the laptop, and I waited. It didn't take long. By 8:12 a.m., my phone lit up. Mom. Wait, what do you mean cash? Mom. I didn't see anything in there. Are you serious? Mom. How much was in it? I'm looking now, okay? Then the calls started again, and I didn't answer a single one. See, there wasn't any cash, not a penny. But she didn't know that. And now every time she thought about that trash bag, she'd feel it. That creeping, gnawing fear that she had thrown away something valuable. Not just money. Meet Greg texted again that afternoon. Greg, this is getting childish. Just tell us if you're lying. I almost replied, ask the garbage truck. Instead, I made tea I didn't drink. Sat in the quiet, and let them stew in it. By Thursday, it spread. Greg lost a referral, someone I had introduced him to back when I still cared. Then a contract paused. Another client asked to work with someone else. All I had done was send 3 polite messages. Hey, just wanted to let you know. Moving forward. I'd prefer not to have my name associated with Greg Hatcher. Nothing dramatic. Just a personal boundary. Hope that makes sense. Short. Calm. Nuclear. By Friday, he was spiraling. Logan sent me a voice memo. Started with, "Look, I know things weren't perfect," and ended with, "But you're ruining Mom's life over a misunderstanding." A misunderstanding? She dumped a letter I bled into and didn't notice, or worse, did. I didn't reply. Not to him, not to Greg, not to her. They weren't used to silence. They were used to me patching things, fixing messes I didn't make, smiling through holidays like a background actor in someone else's life. So this silence? It was deafening. By the end of the week, I got a text from Aunt Margie. Margie. If I were you, I wouldn't answer either. That one made me smile. She saw it, really saw it. The years I gave. The parts of me I amputated to keep their lives comfortable. And then came Monday. And Mom showed up at my office, no warning. Just strolled in like she was shopping for forgiveness. Receptionist buzzed me like the building was on fire. I came down to find her standing in the lobby in a blazer so white it looked ironic. She didn't smile. "Can we talk?" she asked, already halfway to the exit. We stepped outside. No hug. No apology. Just her voice, sharp and shaky. "You've humiliated this family." My eyebrows raised. "You embarrassed Logan," she snapped. "Greg's job is on the line. Do you even understand what that means?" I looked her dead in the eye. "Yeah, I understand exactly what that means." She stared, caught off guard, like she was expecting guilt. Then she folded her arms. "You're doing all this out of spite, over one stupid brunch." I tilted my head. "Is that what you think?" I asked. She nodded. "We raised you, paid for everything. Clothes, food, school." I held up a hand. "And I gave you a down payment on your house, paid your utility bills for 2 years. I offered to cover Logan's tuition. But sure, let's talk about those sneakers you bought. Me in 5th grade. That cracked something." Her jaw twitched. "That was your choice. We never asked you to do any of that." "No," I said. You just expected it. Expected me to pick up the slack when Greg forgot the mortgage. Expected me to stay quiet when Logan called me part-time family. Expected me to keep giving. I let the silence hang. Then I added, even after you threw away the only thing I had left to give. She blinked. Something shifted in her face. Maybe guilt. Maybe just damage control. Then she said it. You're not just punishing Greg. She looked at me, voice shaking. You're punishing this family. I nodded. Then maybe this family should have stopped treating me like an afterthought with a wallet. I turned, walked back inside, and this time I didn't look back. 2 days after our little office confrontation, my brother Logan posted a cryptic Instagram story, black background, white text. Funny how some people abandon their family and still think they're the victim. No names, no tags, just vague, enough for plausible deniability. Just pointed enough for everyone to know exactly who he meant. A few mutuals liked it. One cousin messaged me privately. Cousin Jenna. Is that about you? I replied, probably. And if it is, good. I didn't post anything, didn't correct the record, because the truth didn't need defending. Let them stew in the silence. Let them keep guessing. Greg started hemorrhaging clients. That one vendor I introduced him to pulled their contract with no explanation. Another paused a big project indefinitely. By the end of the month, he was asked to resign. The company called it strategic restructuring. But everyone knew. My aunt told me he spent the next week sending emails like a drowning man. Meanwhile, Logan's tuition didn't get paid. Apparently, they'd been banking on that envelope of cash. Oops, he had to defer a semester. Posted something moody about life giving you bricks instead of bread. As if his own behavior wasn't the wrecking ball. Still, I stayed quiet. Not to be cruel, but because silence was the only language they never learned to listen to. Then came the voicemail. A group call. Mom, Greg, Logan. I didn't pick up, but I played the message. Mom, syrupy sweet like she was reading off a script. We just want to talk? Logan, muttering like a hostage. Sorry, I guess. Greg said nothing. Then Mom added, with this soft, manipulative lilt. You made your point. So what now? You disowning us? I played the message twice. Once to hear what they said, once to hear what they didn't. No one said I'm sorry. No one said we didn't treat you right. They just wanted me back in line, back in costume, back on stage. I blocked the number. Then I got promoted. True story. 2 weeks later, my boss pulled me aside. Said she noticed my recent energy shift, more focus, sharper boundaries, better leadership. I didn't tell her I'd emotionally nuked my family. I just said thank you. Got a raise. Moved to a new apartment. Not huge, but clean, sunny, mine. I started cooking again. Hosting people, friends, colleagues, real ones. People who listened when I spoke. Asked how I was. Didn't smirk when I shared good news. One night I got a text from Mom. Mom, saw you moved. Hope you're doing well. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. No mention of what she did. No acknowledgement. Just fishing, like she wanted to know if the door was open. It wasn't, but I didn't reply. Didn't need to slam it, let her hear. It creak closed in the silence. Weeks passed. I boxed up the perfume, the wilted flowers, and the letter, put them in a shoebox and shoved it to the back of my closet. Not because I wanted to keep them, but because I wasn't ready to throw them away either. They weren't reminders of her anymore. They were reminders of me, the version of me who kept trying. I was done trying. Monday, Mom changed tactics. The texts stopped being worried. They got sharp. You need to stop this, now. Greg emailed me directly. Professional tone. Like we were negotiating some business contract instead of unpacking a decade of emotional rot. This is affecting my career. I'd appreciate it if you could reconsider for the family's sake. Translation. Your silence is costing me money. Logan sent another voice memo. I mean, yeah, things weren't perfect. But seriously? You're burning everything down over what? Some flowers and a stupid note? And there it was. The moment of clarity. To them, it was just trash. To me, it was the last thread holding us together. They spent years treating me like background noise, and now they were shocked when I turned down the volume. Still, I said nothing, didn't rant, didn't explain, because they weren't asking to understand. They were asking for control. But I had one more move left. A quiet one. I printed out every transaction I'd ever made on their behalf. Mortgage help, utility bills, even the PayPal transfer I sent to help Logan buy books last fall. Slipped them into a folder. Labeled it, Evidence of Grace. Not for them. For me. A receipt of all the ways I showed up when they didn't, because if they ever tried to rewrite history, and I knew they would, I'd be ready. You can't gaslight someone who keeps the receipts. I slid the folder into my filing cabinet. Labeled. Archived. Closed. That night I cooked dinner for people who saw me, who valued me. We laughed. Ate too much pasta. Someone brought wine. We played cards. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was performing. No tension in my spine, no panic waiting for the next blow. Just warmth. Real. Unforced. After they left, I stood on my balcony and looked out over the city, lights twinkling, air sharp, clean. And I whispered to myself, this is mine. Not bought, not borrowed, not conditional, mine. The silence wasn't revenge. It was the oxygen I'd been gasping for since I was 10 years old. But they didn't see it that way. To them, my lack of response was a siege, an attack, a rebellion. They didn't understand that when you've spent a lifetime trying to earn love that comes with a receipt. The absence of begging is its own kind of justice. That Friday, Greg lost another contract. Not because I said anything, but because people noticed I wasn't saying anything. See, the circles. He moved in? Small. Chatty. Image-focused. He built his entire persona on being connected. Reliable. A family man, someone once called him. Except now the guy who got him those connections? Gone. Vanished like a ghost. People weren't sure they wanted to summon. A former client called me just to ask, "Is everything okay between you two?" I said, "I'm not comfortable discussing Greg's situation." Polite. Chilling. The next week, one of his vendors backed out. Then a rumor started circulating that Greg had misrepresented his experience because, well, he had. I'd just stopped covering for him. I didn't spread the rumor. I didn't have to. A single unreturned call from me was enough for people to start asking questions. That's how fragile the web was. One thread, one tug, and the whole thing started unraveling. Meanwhile, Logan's friends unfollowed me on social media. Some blocked me altogether. I guess the family narrative was out in full spin mode. The disloyal brother, the ungrateful son. I didn't fight it, let them build their little fiction fortress. Truth doesn't knock. It waits, quietly, unshakably. Then it was my mom's turn. She sent a long email. Pages. Probably typed and retyped. Subject line, "We need to fix this." She used phrases like emotional strain, family dynamics, and past miscommunications. Not once did she say I'm sorry, but she did say this. "I've been talking to Pastor Don about how to rebuild trust." That sentence almost made me laugh. She was outsourcing accountability to Jesus. I closed the email without replying. That night, I got a text from my old childhood neighbor, Mrs. Langley. She was in her 70s now, still sharp as glass. "Mrs. Langley, just so you know, your mom's been telling people you're having a breakdown, that you're lashing out for no reason." I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I wrote back, "Thanks, but I'm not breaking down. I'm breaking free." Because that's what it was. Not a tantrum, not a meltdown, just freedom. The kind that doesn't look like fireworks. The kind that feels like finally setting down a backpack you didn't realize had bricks in it. I spent Saturday cleaning. A real purge. Old clothes. Stale books. Stuff I'd kept because it reminded me of who I used to be. In the back of my closet, I found a small square box. Inside was a photo. Me, age 9, holding a cake I'd made for Mom on her birthday. One candle melted sideways. My face beaming like it was Christmas morning. She was behind me, half smiling. The camera barely caught her. I remembered that day. I remembered how proud I felt. How I'd saved for weeks to buy cake mix and sprinkles. And I remembered how, after the photo, she took one bite and said, "It's a little dry," and threw the rest away. I kept that photo for 2 decades, like proof that I tried. I stared at it now, then slid it into the shredder. Some things don't need to be remembered. Later that night I boxed up the shoebox with the perfume, the flowers, and the sealed letter, drove to the edge of the city, found one of those Goodwill donations, drop-ins, slid the box in. No note, no explanation. Not for her. For me, because I didn't need her to read the letter. I already knew what it said, and I finally believed I deserved someone who didn't need a second chance to understand it. On Sunday morning, I woke up to another voicemail. This one was different. My mom was crying, like really crying. Not performative sniffles, desperate, panicked. I didn't know, okay? I didn't mean to throw it away. I thought maybe you took it back with you. I didn't even open the bag. Greg did. That was new. Now it was Greg's fault. Classic. Please, I didn't know the cash was in there. Just tell me how much. Please, we can fix this. Please don't do this. She didn't say I love you. She didn't say I was wrong. She just begged for a way out. The voicemail ended with a shaky breath and the sound of her phone clattering like she dropped it. I didn't respond, because here's the thing they never understood. Love isn't transactional. It's not, we raised you, now you owe us. It's not, we gave you food and clothes, so forgive everything else. And it's definitely not, let us keep hurting you because we're family. I had spent a lifetime believing that being a good son meant swallowing my own pain to keep the peace. Now I understood. Peace built on silence isn't peace. It's surrender. And I wasn't surrendering anymore. She didn't text. She didn't call. She just showed up. Cream blazer. Full makeup. Hair curled like she was auditioning for an apology. The receptionist buzzed me, voice tight. There's a woman in the lobby, says she's your mom. My gut twisted. Not with fear, just that old sour mix of embarrassment and déjà vu. I walked down. There she was. Standing like she owned the room, lipstick flawless, eyes cold. Can we talk? She said. No greeting, no smile, just expectation. We stepped outside. She turned to me before I could say a word. You've humiliated this family. There it was. The script. You embarrassed Logan, she snapped. Greg's job is hanging by a thread. Do you even understand what that means? I understand exactly what that means, I said. Calm, controlled, and deadly quiet. She blinked, probably expecting me to apologize. Instead, I tilted my head. You came here to lecture me? Her arms crossed. She leaned in like a parent scolding a child. You're being cruel. Over what? Some letter? A brunch? A brunch. That's what it all boiled down to for her. I gave you years, I said. And when I finally asked for nothing but a moment, you threw it in the trash. Her face twitched. A flicker of something. Guilt? Nah. Damage control. You're twisting this, she said, voice rising. We raised you. We gave you food, clothes, school. And I gave you a down payment on your house. I cut in. I paid your bills for 2 years. I offered to cover Logan's tuition. I helped Greg get a job he wasn't qualified for. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. So yeah, I said. Let's talk about how you bought me sneakers in the 5th grade. That hit, like a slap made of words. She stepped back. That was your choice, I nodded. Exactly. And this silence? Also my choice. She was unraveling now. You think you're the victim? She hissed. You're not just punishing Greg. You're punishing your family. I smiled. Tired. Then maybe this family should have treated me like I belonged to it. She stared like I'd grown a second head. Like the quiet version of me had been murdered in his sleep and replaced with someone unrecognizable. And then she went for it. The Hail Mary. You're not thinking clearly, she said. You've always been sensitive. Ah, there it was. The subtle dig. The old standby. Dismiss the feelings. Minimize the wound. Reclaim control. I didn't flinch. Sensitive people remember what others want to forget. She scoffed. You're throwing everything away over a misunderstanding. No, I said. You threw everything away. I just stopped picking it back up. We stood there, frozen. Then she dropped her final card. You're going to regret this, she whispered. When you're older, when you're alone, you'll realize you pushed us away. I nodded slowly. Maybe, but I'd rather be alone than disposable. I turned, walked back inside. Her heels clicked once on the pavement behind me. Then silence. She didn't follow. That night, Logan messaged me again. This time, angrier. "What the hell did you say to Mom? She came home crying and won't talk to anyone. You've seriously lost it, man. This whole act, it's pathetic. You want to punish her? Fine. But don't drag the rest of us down." I didn't reply, because I wasn't dragging anyone. They were just finally feeling the weight they'd been resting on me for years. By Monday, Greg's email signature had changed. No longer VP of Client Relations. Just consultant. A LinkedIn update followed. Subtle, but clear. And on Tuesday, my cousin Jenna sent me a screenshot. Greg had posted some generic motivational quote on Facebook. "People will always disappoint. You trust carefully." Classic projection. She added a caption. "So, Greg's in full spiral, huh?" I replied, "Guess the support beam cracked." She laughed. "Still think you were too harsh?" I thought about it. I thought about the letter, the unopened perfume, the flowers shoved in a trash bag before dessert was even cleared. And I thought about a decade of missed birthdays, canceled visits, polite silences, and invisible effort. "No," I replied. "I think I finally set the boundary they never thought I'd have the guts to draw." That night, I cooked pasta for myself, watched a movie with no interruptions, phone off, and for the first time, I didn't flinch at the sound of a knock. No dread, no mental rehearsal of fake smiles, just peace, earned. Still, I knew one thing for sure. They weren't done yet. They tried one last time. A group video call. Blocked numbers don't work when people borrow new phones. Mom, Greg, Logan. I didn't answer. They left a voicemail. "We just want to talk," Mom said. Her voice syrupy and too careful, like someone trying to reset a chessboard after flipping it. Logan chimed in, half muttering, "Sorry, I guess," like an apology dragged from under a shoe. Greg didn't speak. Then Mom added, "You made your point, so what now? Are you disowning us?" I played the message twice. Once to hear what they said. Once to hear what they didn't. No one said we were wrong. No one said you didn't deserve that. No one said I'm sorry, like they meant it. They just wanted to get me back into place. Back. In role. I deleted the voicemail, blocked the number. Again. 3 months passed. I got promoted again. Bought new furniture. Hosted dinner parties with people who didn't need me to prove my worth. People who saw me. Heard me. Remembered my birthday without Facebook reminding them. Then one night, a text came through from a number I didn't recognize. "Mom. Saw you moved. Hope you're doing well. If you ever want to talk, I'm here." That was it. No mention of what she did, or what she didn't. No, I'm sorry. Just a breadcrumb tossed into the void. I didn't reply. I made tea, sat on my balcony. Let the silence wrap around me like a blanket stitched from all the words I'd swallowed over the years. No guilt. No ache. No performance. Just peace. Sometimes, I wondered if I overreacted. If maybe I should have let it go. Smiled through the sting. Picked a more convenient moment to draw a line. Then I remembered that garage, the trash bag, the red envelope, the unopened perfume, the flowers wilting, in coffee grounds. I remembered the letter, written with shaking hands, words I stayed up all night to get right. And I remembered how she blinked at it like it was a receipt she didn't remember authorizing, then threw it away without a second thought. So no, I didn't burn a bridge. I just stopped carrying the weight of one they tore down years ago. But I wasn't done, because closure doesn't always look like forgiveness. Sometimes it looks like finally telling your story. I wrote an open letter, posted it online. I didn't name names, didn't rant, didn't even sound bitter. Just facts, memories. What it's like to be the child who never felt chosen. It went viral. People shared it. Commented. Said it felt like I had written their lives. Then someone forwarded it to Logan, and Greg, and Mom. I know because they all tried calling again, this time from different numbers. No voicemails, just hang-ups. Then a message came in from Greg's work contact, the one I had introduced him to years ago. Her. "Just saw your post. I had no idea. You don't owe them a thing." A day later, Greg lost another referral. Another door closed. Quietly, cleanly, you'd think I'd feel vindicated. But honestly, I just felt done, not angry. Not victorious, just free. A week later, I went to the beach alone. First time in years. I brought a new letter, wrote it at sunrise. But this time, it wasn't for her. It was for me. I wrote, "You didn't fail. You loved people who didn't know how to love you back. And when you stopped offering your soul for scraps, they called you selfish. But you weren't. You were surviving." I folded it, lit it, watched it burn until the wind carried it out over the ocean. And I didn't cry, because for once, the grief was clean. That night, I boxed up the last things. Old photos, birthday cards signed with duty, not love, and took them to the dumpster behind my building. I threw them out myself. No ceremony, just closure. Then I walked back upstairs, sat down, poured a glass of wine. And I finally felt like I was home. Not at their house, not inside their expectations, not in the role they had written for me, but in my life. Sometimes people will only see your value once they can no longer access it. Sometimes losing you is their first taste of consequence. And if you're lucky, if you're brave, you'll realize you were never the villain. You were just the first person who refused to keep playing pretend. That's the end of today's story. Did things turn out the way you thought, or were there some surprises along the way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't joined the community yet, now's the perfect time. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always the first to catch new stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.